Thank you, Dennis. Good morning, everyone. Our guests today on News Extra are City Engineer Paul Snarr with the City of Gering and Mike Sarchet, who wears a lot of different hats, but in this particular case, simply a community consultant for the cities that are going to be involved in this project we're going to talk about. And this involves first of all, we maybe explain exactly what's going on. We have a workshop November 9th regarding the Brownfield projects, and this is a result, am I right, Mike, of a major grant that the Panhandle Area Development District got, right?
Yeah, it really is. We appreciate this chance to be here, Kevin. Yeah, this grant, working with Daniel Barrett from Panhandle Area Development, it's a grant through the Center for Disease Control out of Atlanta, Georgia. But it fits in with exactly what we've been trying to do in western Nebraska in the community. It dovetails nicely with our existing Brownfield EPA grants. But it gives us a chance to work with the communities all around the Panhandle. We'll be targeting 15 communities and helping them go through some inventories and gather information that can then lead to going after additional EPA grants.
All right. And Paul, when we talk about brownfield grants, we're talking about grants to clean up properties that might later be redeveloped. Am I right?
Correct. Yeah. We've got several projects going right now, some of which Western Sugar, Rich's Auto Wrecking, Packerland.
Yeah. Some of those properties that we kind of need to have them cleaned up, and they could be great properties for redevelopment, put new businesses there.
Oh, sure.
Right?
Yep.
And that's
very much so.
That's kind of the idea of this $113,000 grant that PAD received, not only to help out Gering and Scottsbluff, but also a number of other communities around the Panhandle. So there is a workshop specifically for Gering, and probably Scottsbluff, I would imagine, too, on November 9th, right?
The one November 9th is for Gering and Terrytown. We'll be doing a separate meeting for Scottsbluff, but each community, we hope to target 15 communities within this grant. And each community will kind of go through a two-step process. We'll meet with community leaders, inform them about the grant and the opportunity, and invite them to participate. And if they agree to do so, like Gering did, then we'll set up a community meeting, which is a little bit different than a lot of your standard community meetings. We really need a good collection of diverse community citizens to come. It's a 2-hour workshop, but it gives us a chance to look at the community from different eyes, look at some different visions for hope in the future. And as Paul mentioned, a lot of the properties we're working with right now have huge redevelopment potential. And that's what that grant helps us vision and set up, is to gather the information from the community, help them decide what their vision is, what they want, and then help them move forward.
So who do we want at this workshop on November 9th, and where will it be?
I think everyone in the community that's got some interest in redevelopment and cleaning things up, our politicians within the city, and I think all in Gering and Terrytown, anyone that's interested in this should show up. And we'll have different workstations set up that they can visit different tables and make their comments, write them down on maps that we'll have ready for viewing. And
okay. When is it, Mike?
It's going to be November 9th, and it will be at the chamber for the city of Gering, for their council chamber area. It's going to be kind of a fun workshop. It's a 2-hour workshop, and but it's interactive. It won't just be talking faces. It's really geared towards having the community tell us what they see as problematic areas, share a vision as to what could be redone with those, and help us move forward on some new visioning.
What time is it?
It's from 6 until 8, and we'll get everybody out on time so they can still catch the last part of the football game.
Yeah,
All right.
You go.
All right. I'm not sure what. November 9th must be a football night, huh?
Yeah, I think so.
All right. Okay, very good. And it's a rather informal meeting, am I right?
Very much so. Yep, and it's just an opportunity for people to come and share. And what we found, we conducted a workshop with Crawford a couple of weeks ago, and it's always interesting to see that different people within the community look at the community differently. They see some problematic buildings that maybe a lot of us don't think about, that we just drive by every day. And so it gives a chance to look at a community with fresh eyes, with a fresh vision, and to try and find some ways to move forward with some new opportunities.
All right, we'll take a quick break and recap a little bit right after this. Okay, coming in 3, 2, 1. Back on News Extra, Mike Sarchet and Gering City Engineer Paul Snarr are here to talk about a big workshop coming up November 9th over at the Gering Council Chambers, 6 to 8 p.m., where they'd like to have folks there to help identify and help them identify contaminated properties that, if cleaned up, might be attractive for redevelopment. That's the idea. And they have a $113,000 grant from PAD that's helping us out with this. The PAD grant covers the entire Panhandle. Now, Mike, are you going to help out with meetings probably throughout the whole entire region, I suppose, huh?
Yeah, I will. It's a team of Daniel Barrett, myself, and Sabina Martin, who's an EPA consultant. We worked with 5 communities a couple of weeks ago. Had our first overall workshop at Crawford. On that week of November 9th, we'll be working with 6 additional communities. But over the next 6 months, we'll work with at least 15 of the Western Panhandle communities and helping them move forward in this process.
And there is a second process, am I right, Paul? There's a possibility that maybe you can get another grant to actually implement cleanup and redevelopment if you're successful with this one.
Yeah, that's the original grant that we have right now that we're doing phase 1s on and phase 2s on the existing properties. Western Sugar, those type properties.
Yeah.
That once we get to phase 2s, we'll definitely go in and apply for a cleanup grant.
Yeah. So this is big for the community. Help us just redevelop some properties, and the hope is here that we'll have new jobs once we do it, right?
It really is, and I think if some people that don't travel the corridor between Scottsbluff and Gering may not be aware of how many exciting things have happened in that area in the last year, really. So the community's really stepped up, and that's one of the reasons we're doing this. Once you start the process, people become more aware of properties that are out there. It opens the door to where you can look at commercial loans. And a lot of these properties have sat for 20 or 30 years because everyone was afraid to work with them. And these types of grants help us solve the problems and look at redevelopment of many of these properties.
All right, very good. All right, gentlemen, thank you very much. Once again, the date, November 9th, over at the Gering City Hall, 6 to 8 p.m. Make sure you get there and help identify properties that can be cleaned up and be attractive for redevelopment. These guys would appreciate it. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You bet.